If an AI can beat us at chess, write passable essays, and mimic our voices, is it actually intelligent or just very good at predicting what comes next? Today, we're going to unpack what intelligence really means and why that matters for how we build and judge AI systems going forward. Welcome to OmegaCast AI Philosophy and the Future of Being Human. I'm Farhad Rezazadeh, your host, and around here we take the big questions seriously without getting lost in pointless jargon. Each week we explore how AI shapes ethics, meaning, creativity, and work, grounded takes for curious builders and thinkers. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Let's start with a simple picture. Imagine you're watching a magician. The card appears in your hand, and you're stunned. What you see is impossible. What actually happened is technique, practice, and misdirection. Now replace the magician with an AI system. You watch it solve a problem and it feels like intelligence, but is it? Or are we being fooled by performance, the way a good illusion fools the eye? This is not a trick question. It's an invitation to look under the hood, because how we answer changes what we build, what we regulate, what we fear, and what we hope for. What do we mean by intelligence? Intelligence is a slippery word. For some, it means raw problem-solving power. Can the system achieve goals across varied environments? For others, it implies understanding, awareness, even consciousness. In everyday life, we mix these ideas together and call it smart. But in AI, that blend can be dangerous. If we equate test performance with understanding, we risk optimizing machines to look intelligent while ignoring whether they grasp anything at all. Modern AI, especially large models, are astonishing predictors. Give them context and they forecast the next token, the next pixel, the next move. This predictive engine is not trivial. It compresses patterns from vast data into a form we can use. But prediction alone isn't the same as understanding. A student might memorize answers and pass an exam without grasping the concepts. Likewise, a model might ace benchmarks while failing in the wild because it never learned the underlying structure, only the surface correlations. Why the distinction matters? You might ask, if the system works, who cares? We should care because the gap between performance and understanding shows up precisely when stakes are high. Safety-critical decisions, novel edge cases, unfamiliar contexts, or adversarial conditions. A model that performs without understanding can fail confidently and invisibly. That's when illusions become accidents. Think about learning a city. You can memorize a map and still get lost when a street is closed because what you know is a picture, not the lived structure of the place. Understanding is the ability to adapt when reality shifts. Intelligence, in this deeper sense, shows up in transfer. Can the system apply what it knows to a new situation without being spoon-fed examples? If it can, we start to trust it. If it can't, we should be careful about where we deploy it and how we measure its competence. Another thread here is the debate between symbol manipulation and embodiment. Classic A. I tried to represent the world with symbols and rules. Modern systems mostly learn patterns from data, but human intelligence is also embodied. We move, sense, and act. Our concepts are grounded in physical experience, hot, heavy, near, far. That grounding gives our words weight. For AI, the question is whether models trained only on text, images, or logs can truly grasp what those symbols point to. Maybe they can approximate it. Maybe they need richer interaction with the world. Either way, we shouldn't assume that fluent language equals grounded comprehension. Benchmarks are useful. They let us compare progress, but they also shape behavior. When a metric becomes the target, systems learn to game the test. We end up optimizing to the benchmark, not to real-world value. If your benchmark rewards short-term accuracy, you might inadvertently penalize caution, calibration, or humility. If your benchmark ignores human context, values, harms, rights, you'll ship a model that looks great on paper and misfires with people. A human lens for evaluation. So how do we evaluate intelligence in a way that respects human realities? Start by asking, what job is this system doing for a person? What counts as success for them? A medical assistant model that never fabricates citations might be less impressive than a flashy one, but it's far more useful and trustworthy. Build tests that reflect lived use, ambiguity, incomplete information, shifting goals, and the need to ask for help. Reward behaviors that align with human expectations, stating uncertainty, showing evidence, asking clarifying questions, and deferring when appropriate. Intelligence as goal-directed behavior. There's a clean definition I like for practical work. Intelligence is the ability to achieve goals across varied environments with limited resources and imperfect information. Under that view, intelligence isn't a state, it's a capability profile. You can examine it along dimensions: generality, robustness, sample efficiency, calibration, interpretability, and alignment with human values. Suddenly the question, is it intelligent? Yes, becomes, in which ways is it intelligent and at what cost? That's a better conversation. The philosophy behind the code. Philosophy helps us name the stakes. If intelligence is just outputs, then a perfect mimic is as good as the real thing. If intelligence entails understanding, then we seek signs of grasp, explanations that reflect causal models, not just plausible stories. If intelligence includes consciousness, then we enter moral terrain. Could a system have experiences we owe duties to? We don't need to settle those debates today, but we should be honest about which definition we're using when we deploy systems that affect people's lives. What changes for a single person? Let's make it personal. Imagine a learner using an AI tutor. If the tutor looks smart but can't detect when the student is confused, it may bulldoze them with confident answers. If it understands a bit, if it asks the student to teach back the concept, if it admits uncertainty, if it chooses a simpler explanation when the student slows down, then it helps the human grow. The difference isn't just accuracy, it's respect for the learner's mind. That's what I mean by a human lens on intelligence. How can you tell when a system is bluffing? Listen for calibration. Systems that acknowledge uncertainty and provide verifiable references are signaling depth. Watch for behavior under perturbation, rephrase the question, remove cues, or add irrelevant details. If performance collapses, you may be seeing pattern matching without understanding. Test for transfer, slightly change the domain. Does the model adapt, or does it anchor on surface features and produce brittle answers? Building with responsibility. If you're a builder, you can shape intelligence at the design level. Choose objectives that reward the right behavior. Include failure modes in your evaluation suite, ambiguity, adversarial prompts, and edge cases that mirror your deployment context. Log mistakes, not just wins. Integrate mechanisms for graceful degradation. When the model isn't sure it should slow down, ask a question, or hand off to a human. That's not a weakness. It's intelligence acknowledging its limits. Transparent reasoning without overclaiming. Users don't need a full theory of how a model works, but they deserve usable transparency. Provide the why behind recommendations in a way a person can check. Sources, constraints, and alternatives. Avoid theater, pretty diagrams that explain nothing. If the model is using heuristics, say so. If human review is required, make that visible. Honesty builds trust faster than hype. Ethics beyond slogans. We also need to talk about alignment, real alignment, not marketing. If your system maximizes engagement at all costs, it will learn to manipulate people. If your system helps users achieve their own goals, it will behave differently. Intelligence aligned with human values looks like consent, agency, privacy, and dignity built in, not bolted on. That's philosophy meeting product design. What about creativity? Can AI make art with meaning? It can certainly produce artifacts that move us, but meaning also comes from intention and context, from a human choosing, curating, and caring. The most exciting use of AI in creative work may be amplification, expanding the space of ideas we can explore, while humans remain the authors of purpose and taste. Intelligence as collaboration, not replacement. As systems grow more capable, some tasks will be automated. That doesn't automatically diminish human worth. In fact, it forces a deeper question. What kinds of work honor human dignity? We might decide that offloading drudgery is a feature, not a bug, so long as we design transitions with care, provide avenues to reskill, and respect the social meaning of work. Intelligence worth having is intelligence that expands human possibility. So, what counts as intelligence? Not just polished outputs, but robust, transferable competence aligned with human goals. In practice, that means measuring more than accuracy. Measure calibration. Does the system know when it doesn't know? Measure transfer. Can it adapt to slightly new tasks? Measure impact. Are humans better off, more informed, more capable, more in control after using it? If we optimize for those, our systems will get smarter in the ways that matter. Here's what I want you to leave with today. First, performance is not the same as understanding. Don't let benchmarks blind you to real-world behavior. Second, the definition of intelligence you choose will shape your design, your metrics, and your ethics. So choose consciously. Third, keep a human lens. Evaluate AI by how well it serves people's goals with honesty, humility, and respect. Thanks for listening to OmegaCast. If this episode sparked something, hit subscribe and share it with a friend who loves big questions. Next time we're asking, are we our prompts? We'll explore agency, tools, and human identity in an age of AI companions and agents. Until then, keep your curiosity sharp, and remember, intelligence isn't just what answers you give, it's how you choose the questions.